I can't believe what I just did. I just resigned my teaching position after 27 years as a public school teacher. It is time for me to branch out and do something more. But before we talk about why I'm here, why I'm branching out and doing something different, let me share with you a little bit my story about how and why and what's been going on. Started way back when I was a little girl, 8 years old, even before that, teaching, pretending to be a teacher at school, at home, working with my brother with his homework, all those things. 8 years old, second grade, walked in to see my teacher, and I told her, "You know what, Mrs. Reynolds? One day I'm going to come back and I'm going to take your job." She looked at me, she's like, "What?" Well, lo and behold, after I graduated from college, I went back to my elementary school and I got to teach with that wonderful woman for 1 year. I helped her retire and move on to a beautiful life for her and a wonderful teaching career for me. I was able to work with many of my mentors and teachers that I looked up to for several years. First several years of my teaching career were amazing. The connections I had with families, the community I worked in, how the community rallied around the school. There were fundraisers, there were events, there were awesome things, projects that happened, and teaching that happened, and connection. We had smaller class sizes, ways that parents could come in and help and volunteer easily, field trips. And one of the things that was the best was whenever we got to do what's called the ham dinner. Veterans Day, we got to have dinner in the cafeteria. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. And all the families came. The sixth graders served the food. The local community helped cook. And it was amazing because every single year, all the kids, all the parents, all the adults, families that had graduated from my school came back and shared that evening. So it was basically a whole school reunion every single year. Loved, loved, loved the connection and the family and the community. As I continued teaching, things were pretty good. Things were moving forward. Things changed. Unfortunately, something called consolidation happened where they combined a whole bunch of schools, and principals changed and administration changed. Policies and curriculum have changed. The last 10 years have been really interesting. All of the changes and expectations that have been coming down through the administration level down to the teachers. Instead of feeling more connected with my students, I got more and more disconnected. I was discouraged that I couldn't reach these families. Class sizes were too big. Having 32 kids and not being able to get to know every single one of them and make that connection was just so discouraging to me. And then, of course, there was policy changes. And then there were times when I had to work on curriculum that I wasn't quite sure about. And then the families started feeling more and more disconnected. And unfortunately, I see that a lot in many of the schools in the area today. Luckily, 2 years ago, I was able to go to the online school for our school district. Now, this isn't a COVID school. It isn't the online stuff that we did because of COVID. Instead, this is an online school that gets to be part of the school district every single year. And this online school is the school for those kids who are medically fragile and can't be in the classroom. Maybe they just learn better at home, so they get help and support with teachers. And then maybe sometimes these kiddos are high end sports, and so they travel and do competitions and they can't be in the school because they're so busy and out of the state or something like that. So these kiddos are in a different kind of situation than most kids. But I was able to go there 2 years ago and start helping to build the kindergarten through second grade program. And the thing that I found was that I was able to make connections again. Even though class was online, the kids loved coming to class. They loved showing up and smiling and sharing with me. Reading groups were a lot of fun because we got to read stories together, even though it was online. Math, science, social studies, all those things that we could connect with. But more than that, I realized that I was in a coaching position as well as a teaching position. So would parents call and say, "Hey, I'm having trouble with this schedule. I'm having trouble with this time with my kiddo, trying to get them to get into learning. What do we do?" And we would brainstorm and we would talk and we'd figure out a plan and then get the kiddos re-engaged again. All of those things made it feel like I was really connected again with my students, and it helped me get so ready for what I'm working on now. All during this time, Herb and I have had this plan, this idea, this um, dream. There we go. There it is. For a school that would do all of those things that we were hoping for: a community connection, a way to use community members to help in the school and be around the school to help the kids, for the kids being able to go out to the community maybe and help out and everything. So there's lots of different connections. I even wrote about it in one of my classes as a final paper, and the professor was amazed. They're like, wow, if you could do something like that, that would really help our world, our community, our country right now. So all of this was happening. And then I had lunch with my teaching partner. This last week, we were talking and sitting, and I was sharing with her all of the ideas, everything that we've been building the last 2 months, um, getting ready to start our new educational model. There we go, model. There's modules inside the model. Anyway, working on the education model and sharing with her, and she was excited and ecstatic. And then we got to another part and she was sad. She's like, wait a minute, that sounds like you might not be coming back to work with me this year. And then we were happy again and excited, and we're talking about everything. And then we started putting together our idea about what this next school year might look like. And she said, from what I know, there's not very many kiddos enrolled this year because the need isn't there as much as it has in the past. And I'm like, yeah, I have been hearing some of the same thing. Funny thing, talked to the principal a little bit, and she hinted that there might be somebody having to leave our online school, leave our little family that we've been building over the last 2 years. And so as I was thinking, it's like, this is really the time. This is the time for me to branch out, do exactly what I know I need to do, work on my new education model, help families all across the country, bring education home to their home, help support them, and help them have the education that they want for their students. So, in one way, to save another teacher so they didn't have to move, and another way to help me move forward and do what I know I need to do and I want to do, and I'm super excited to do, I finally resigned my position of teaching at a public school after 27 years. I'm so excited to move forward on this journey. I hope you will join me. Come find out more. Come ask questions. As a educational coach now, I can help out people who have questions about what does this look like being an at-home education, not necessarily homeschool, but an educational model where we get to maybe blend and move and work together as a team for you and your family. Anyway, I'm super excited. Come join me, find out more, follow my posts and things below. And I hope that you and your family have a wonderful school year, however it might look. Thanks.